So that's the scoop on the current state of the border wall. Today is October 24, 2017, and it's currently the 88th anniversary of the Great Depression.
Almost 90 years ago, on this day, the stock markets crashed and we entered the worst economic depression this country's ever seen. I'm Delmer Chester.
And I'm Joanna Sneed. More on that next.
The Great Depression was a time of great economic decline in the U.S., which occurred in the late 20s and early 30s. Lasted for about 4 years, from 29 to 33.
During this time period, the industrial production rates for the U.S. nearly fell 47%. Our national gross domestic product dropped by 30%. The unemployment rate rose by 20%.
In many other countries around the world, stock market prices crashed and industrial production rates fell as well.
But what could have caused this money fish flop?
Well, it all really started with the stock market crash on this day 83 years ago. Over the past few years, the stock market prices have risen dramatically, so the government tried to prevent a crash by raising interest rates. In doing so, they accidentally started the Great Depression.
Markets like automobile production and construction began to fail. When stock market prices began to slowly decline, many investors had to give up their share in various companies because they were no longer profitable.
I'm gonna go broke if I don't sell these stocks!
Because of a sudden lack of money, companies had to fire workers to maintain a profit, which resulted in more people without jobs. These people without jobs had to conserve their savings, and as a result, companies made even less money, and they had to lay off even more people.
Gee wilkers, that sounds pretty bad.
What's crazy is that the financial problems weren't even bad to cause this to happen. People thought that they were poorer than they really were, when they really could have just paid for many of these products without any issues.
Some people did things that caused the depression at the time this recession to worsen. Many people lost their confidence in the bank and kept their money and tried to withdraw all of it at once. Since banks normally have at least a little money loaned out to people, the banks had to liquidate their loans. This caused many banks to run out of money and thus have to shut down. By 1933, up to 1/5 of American banks that had been active in 1930 had closed.
I don't trust the bank to keep my money safe. I want my money!
But your money's loaned out.
I want it now!
Up to 1/5 of American banks that had been active in 1930 had closed.
This spread to other countries through the gold standard, which required that countries try to maintain a fixed price in gold for their currency. This allowed countries who were suddenly buying cheap American goods to try to defend their own businesses and start oppression in their own country.
As you know, though we eventually pulled through, the government policies like FDR's and New Deal did help a little, but what did help was World War II. A fast production of military weapons and other wartime needs helped gently improve the economy. By 1933, the worst of the Depression was over.
However, economic growth, like there had been pre-Depression, did not return for several years.
You know, this whole Depression thing is giving me deja vu.
You know, that might be because of a more recent issue which happened only a decade ago. The Great Recession, which began December 2007 and ended June 2009, was the longest economic decline since the Great Depression 78 years before. This decline lasted about 2 years.
During this 2-year period, about 10 years ago, the national unemployment rates increased by 4.5%. The 176 banks in the country failed.
Many businesses, including ones like car manufacturers that relied on their companies customers to take out loans, went bankrupt. Economic ripples spread throughout the world, causing similar periods of slow growth or negative growth. Out of the 33 countries with advanced economies, only one, Australia, had no recession or halt in its growth.
But what caused this economic decline? Well, the Great Recession had many events that led up to it, but the main one was the housing market crash of 2008.
This humongous housing crash took place because between the years of 1995 and 1999, the housing market made modest but steady growth. In 2000, when the stock market crashed, people started investing in housing instead of the stock markets.
In order to further compensate the housing bubble, there are plenty of cheap money available for new loans. As a result of these changes being made, the Federal Reserve and banks praised the housing market for being the cause of the new wealth and providing a secure asset that people could now borrow money to help the economy progress.
When people saw that prices for housing were increasing, they were practically jumping over each other to get in on that hot action.
Give me some housing loans.
I want some money.
Big Frick wants a house.
Reached its peak in 2006, we began to see the early signs of trouble when some types of subprime loans started going to default.
But at this time, no one seemed to notice these small troubles because never in history had the prices for housing gone down all over the nation.
See, that's where the real trouble starts. Once the credit market froze in the summer of 2007, things began to go downhill immediately.
This is the time when subprime credit stopped completely. Interest rates for credit, as well as credit for other types of borrowing, increased drastically.
I can't pay for my loan.
You gotta.
I'm gonna go bankrupt.
In the August of the year 2007, a worldwide credit crunch had begun and there was no longer any subprime loans available. It was also during this time that the subprime lender American Mortgage filed for bankruptcy. This officially marked the beginning of the house market crash.
This resulted in the LIBOR rate, which is an average interest rate for short-term loans in the London interbank market, raising higher than it had been since the December of 1998. This rate ended up being 6.8%.
So now that we've officially gotten ourselves into this recession, you may have wondered how we got ourselves out.
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. We just increased the amount of money in deficit spending.
But wait, there's actually another factor in which helped us get ourselves out of this Great Recession.
Exactly. In order to help us get out of the Great Recession, the government actually paid the automotive companies money.
But wait, I have a question. So why didn't the Great Recession become another depression?
Yeah, it seems like they were very similar in the beginning. I mean, the government tries to control interest rates,
Causing a huge market crash which shut down the economy and housing rates skyrocket.
Yeah, what was
different?
What was different?
I think I figured it out. It's the way we reacted to the crisis. That's it.
I still don't get what you're saying.
During the Great Depression, the government didn't do anything. The few things they did do made it worse.
Oh, now I get it. During the Great Depression, many people didn't know what to do in an economic crisis. The lack of knowledge caused them to make poor choices, which exacerbated the depression.
When the stock market crashed, everyone went into a panic mode and nobody thought rationally. They drew too much money from the banks and killed the economy.
Exactly! America had been doing well for quite some time, but people didn't know how to handle the crisis!
But by the time the Great Recession had rolled around, we experienced from the Great Depression helped us.
We put our monies into companies that would fail if the interest rates continued to plummet.
And the money we borrowed from banks to keep them alive.
This studio is completely trashed, isn't it?
Big!
Dropped by 30%. The employment rate rose by 20%.
I think we're going to have to do that again because you said
I'm so confused. But at this, that's yours. You just read the wrong thing. You were
It's okay, we'll cut this part out.
So that's the scoop on the current state of the border wall. Today is October 24, 2017, and it's currently the 88th anniversary of the Great Depression.
Almost 90 years ago, on this day, the stock markets crashed. Now I get it. During the Great Depression, many people didn't know what to do in an economic crisis. Their lack of knowledge caused them to make poor choices, which exacerbated the depression.
You sound like one of those, Black Methodist preachers.